Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. In today's video we're doing about improvements and overhauls the game could make. Some of these I feel like are quite needed, and at the end I'm also going to go over a few additional game modes or sort of content they could add to either improve the game or just generally just new content. I have probably tagged some YouTubers at the bottom and in the description just to sort of, I guess, attract a little bit more attention to this, because I do believe there are a lot of things that do sort of need to be improved with the game that we've just sort of left, or Netmarble's just sort of left to the side and they've just been left unloved, basically. And there's tons of game modes about that. So we've got a lot of stuff to cover today, so I'll have timestamps in the description or in the comments. I'm not really too sure. You're wondering why I'm looking over here? That's where my notes are. There's a lot. I may even leave these in the description as well if I can. So first lot will be miscellaneous ones, mainly just stuff to do with the way we get information from Netmarble. And we've got game modes, heroes, so I just did it in sort of sections. So you got sort of the battle area, then you got heroes, you got banners, and then we've just got new content ideas. That's all I've gone over today. I've been trying to be fair with it and not just go over like something, turn the pity from 900 to 600 on festivals. Nothing like that. And yeah, let's get on with it. Okay, before we get into the main video, future me here, I know Netmarble's not going to see this, realistically. But once again, if you want to spread it around, I'm going to try and put stuff in the description and whatever. But once again, I know Netmarble's not going to see this. If they do, they're realistically not going to improve anything. I'm just making this for some chance in heaven they do see it, or people do end up spreading it around and it does end up getting to one of them. They can sort of, say yes, no, yes, no, yes, no to sort of some of these improvements I do talk about. Anyway, let's get on with the video. Also, I put beta there just so that her boobs would sort of captivate the audience. Cool, the first one is just generally miscellaneous ones, which is just general improvements to the game or how Netmarble can communicate to us. First one I said is create more hype for upcoming updates. Have a community manager with the role of creating hype and interacting with the community on social media platforms. Lots of games have that. They have someone who communicate and sort of, I guess, attempt to build up hype. Netmarble's hype is sort of like, 3 days beforehand or 5 days beforehand we post something. And yes, it does generate hype, but when leakers can generate, and beta leaks can generate more hype than Netmarble can for upcoming updates, that's where there's a problem. I understand, if the leak is like a month or 2 months in advance or whatever, which is basically impossible, then yeah, it will create hype. But when it's like a week beforehand, and your only hype for the Eminence in Shadow collab was 3 days, it's not really... It seems a little bit iffy. You could have done a week, or 5 days, or even like just anything really, but 3 days is just not enough to hype it up. And then I said, allow content creators that are part of the content creator program to test upcoming characters and content prior to launch, so that characters are not underpowered and content is considered playable. What I mean by considered playable is DFLOR 4 without, I guess, people finding out these tactics. It was not really repeatable content. Your average player is not going to want to farm it. The absolute out of their mind grinders will. I am one of them. I'm starting the deer grind because I find it fun for some reason, because it's a slight challenge. But for the average player who's not 17 million BoxCC like myself, who isn't like high constellation, who doesn't have the best team with the the needed ult levels, it's not possible at all. I do feel like they should have really tested it with boxes that are not like 21 million, all the GP points they could possibly ask for, the highest box EC possible. They should have just tested it with, I don't know, a 14 million box account, a 16 million box account, an 18 million, and then they can do anything of like 21.5 million, wherever they do, wherever's the max they can do. Solely because testing it at different levels gives you a rough gauge of who it isn't and isn't possible for. Because if we even go to just generally, I'm talking about all content here, but if we go to Demonic Beasts, which I do go over in a bit anyway, 5.5 million, it should say 5.5 million for floors 1 to 3, and then something underneath it that talks about floors 4. With Bird it should be the same. Once again, Bird Floor 4 is much easier than Deer Floor 4. It's not as gimmicky. Deer Floor 4 is horrendous because they decide to stick as many gimmicks as they can on a single Demonic Beast. But yeah, just to have something under here that at least tells us what the recommended box CC is, or the account CC is, it just makes it so much easier for the average player to understand, or you know, for new players to think, oh, why can't I beat this content? You know, it's recommended 5.5 million, but I can't beat it. You know, is there something wrong with my account? And they go around asking people, and then they just get told you're not going to be able to do it because you don't have the characters, or once again, your box isn't built enough, because that is quite a common problem when it comes to content nowadays. It's not only if you have the characters, is your box leveled up enough? Do you have high enough box CC? Is your constellation not high enough? That is quite a large factor when it comes to everything. Everything's impacted. Hero Arena, PvP, just anything that has box CC and constellation involved is quite a big problem sometimes. And now we're going to go on to game modes. By the way, I have no idea how long this video is going to be. I'm not going to lie. I'm just going to keep talking until basically it's over. So, now we're on game modes. I basically tried to go from here, so all of these, or most of these at least, the ones I think need improvements or slight overhauls. First we'll go over these top 3 game modes, not Final Boss. Final Boss is just an event but game mode that comes back every now and again. I said for the rotation event game modes, which is basically just these 3 that we always get in rotation, or, you know, they're really like an LR coin gauntlet, because that's what sort of happens. We get one, and you're really doing it for the LR coins, maybe the diamonds, because you get 30 diamonds from most of them. Unless you're doing Hero Arena, then it's sort of iffy how many diamonds you get. Have a countdown to when they'll next reappear, or have a date when they will next reappear, because we know they always follow a pattern, so you might as well just give us the date of the next one, because that means people who are not always in the loop, you know, people who don't watch content creators like myself, or whoever, or don't keep up with patch notes, at least know when this content is coming, because some people may really enjoy Labyrinth, but really hate, you know, Hero Arena and Leona's Defense, or some people may just really hate Leona's Defense, which is the majority of the player base, because it's a really dead game mode. Because you do nothing, you just watch your characters play and they get absolutely vaporized because the AI does not know how to play against a certain enemy with certain passives. Okay, now we're on to the time limit dungeon. So, special time limit, here we go. Time limit dungeon, increase either the SA coins, so the Super Awakening coins you can get, or the anvils, or the amount of runs we can get from each time limit dungeon key. So if you don't know, you only get about 12 runs per time limit dungeon key. My thought was either you up the amount of runs we can do, or you up the rewards we get, because, you know, some people do the thing where, like, if they don't get a gold chest for the SA coins, they back out, which, you know, it's doable, and technically it's a grind. I don't do it, because it seems like torture, but just up the amount. SA coins is probably something that's holding a lot of players back, especially new players, and even old players like myself, for leveling up your box, and then let's not even talk about True Awakening. Oh my god. They said they were going to rework it, I don't know, last April time? Not seen it. At all. Not been reworked. And I do talk about it here in this. It does need a slight rework, because the price of True Awakening, a rare character, and a UR base is the exact same. As you can see, one character has a lot more value than the other. The UR base has a lot more value, but the rest still cost the same price. Which doesn't really make sense. Like, if it was the same with... If to SE6 a character, if to Super Awaken 6 a character, it was the same for every rarity, I wouldn't have a problem. But as it's different across every rarity, I think the True Awakening should also be different across every rarity as well, especially because 7DS Leagues, before he got DMCA'd, found out that there was like 6 additional stars, which he was able to equip, of course, because he uses his mods or whatever, I don't know what he does. He was able to find the additional stars. Of course, they didn't have any effects on them. They might not even have any effects on them today. But that means there is a possibility they had like a True Awakening 2, True Awakening 4, 6, you know, so on and so forth. And if it's 36 Super Awakening coins to go, an SSR character is already 99 to Super Awaken at 1.6. Sorry, not Super Awaken, to True Awaken at 1.6, which is an absurd amount. Enough for Foot Soldiers. Apart from that, Foot Soldiers I don't really have any problems with. They've sort of updated it recently, not recently, but semi-recently, with changing how these worked and how the enhance works. It's completely fine, apart from that. We will go now into patrols. So patrol is something that hasn't really seen love in quite a while. I thought of having the ability to make custom patrols. So you'll get the skip tickets plus whatever, you know, you sort of ask for. So you'll ask for, let's just say you want SA coins. It'll be like, okay, SA coins, Super Awakening coins will be a week to do. And you put in the character you want to do, and depending on, there'll be like a minimum, let's say like 200k to search for Super Awakening coins, and then the amount you add, plus the additional amount of CC you have above 200k, you'll get like an additional bonus that you can get between, I don't know, 2 and 4, or 4 and 10, or something along the lines of that, so you can sort of get even more, because I do feel like these patrols are sort of dead. Like, one card pack, it's cool, right? But it's useless. You know, this gear's okay. Okay, maybe keep the gear, or allow people to still search for gear, or maybe have some that are still locked to gear only, but make it so it's pickable gear, and then make it so you can pick character upgrading materials, whether that's SSR pendants, demon mats, because new players, like, technically this is quite useful, because as a new player, very new player, it is sometimes a little bit more challenging to get, SSR equipment, but it is what it is, just update this. This hasn't seen any love for a while. I have sorted this by CC, so it would be like, oh, you add Gotha. Let me add beta as well. I could do auto set, but then it would just do it as well. I think it does, at least. There we go. So it'd be like, oh, okay, I could search like okay, I can't. But let's say I had 200k plus. Okay, I could search for SA coins. There was a minimum amount of like 10 I could get. Plus, let's just say if I got lucky and you reach like 300k, there's a chance you get an additional 10 more, which would then make it more worth it. It would be gone for a week, but it doesn't matter because you'd be getting 20 Super Awakening coins, which is huge. And I do feel like there needs to be some sort of readjustment, because they spoke about how they need to make SA coins easier to get, and all they just done was give us a weekly, which gave us an additional like 4 a week, and they give us a daily, that gave us 1 a day. Which, it's good, like 1 a day, you get 7 a week, right? Bear in mind, you could need up to like 24 for a UR based character if they're 1/6, and you want to get them to SA6. It's 24 for the final level. Take you like 3 weeks to get it. That's not the best, I'm not gonna lie. And I went to demons. So death matches, just the death matches themselves. What I said was make a chaos level difficulty for the original demons, so the original set of 3. So that'd be red demon, grey demon, and Howlix. Just because give them a little bit of revamp, maybe make them a little bit harder. Don't give them insane gimmicks. Netmobile, I know you love that. You're addicted to giving insane gimmicks. Just don't do it. It's not needed. There's a lot of content that a lot of players could probably beat if you didn't stick like horrendous gimmicks on it, whether like they get like 50% HP related stats or 50% defense related stats or even invincibility, because I know what the Chaos Endurer is and it is horrendous, and I would not recommend anyone doing it unless you're a mega whale and you like to torture yourself. Then go ahead and be my guest. Next one, Endurer's deathmatch levels. Add a hard and normal difficulty so the average player can still beat it, solely because it's very hard, and if you do not have these most recent Eminence and Shadow characters, it is really hard to beat, and I wouldn't recommend anyone even doing it if they don't have them. Of course, unless you've got a friend who's got them, then it is still possible. It is sort of possible. My friend, who's about 15 million bucks CC, doesn't have any of them, and we were able to do hell. Yes, I had to solo the final phase, but we still did it. Would I recommend it? Not really. I have the optimal team, the optimal. It doesn't get any more optimal than the team I run. And it's still irritating to deal with if someone doesn't have the same team as me, or know what they're doing either. Then I also said all rewards removed, but Super Awakening coin fragments and Chaos fragments, and increase the amount of each that can be obtained. So if you don't know, the Chaos Endurer, or just the Endurer in general, has the worst loot pool I think I've ever seen in anything in this game. For the difficulty I would rather play Deer and get cubes then play this Endurer and get like three gold chests that I can do 2 skip tickets on Gold Dungeon and get more gold. Why would I want to put myself through hell of playing this new game mode when I can just get gold coins? Sorry, it's just generally just gold pots that no one cares about. I would say increase the amount. This is meant to be their new way of getting Super Awakening coins. Why is it that? Bear in mind, it's 12 to make 1, right? Even on Chaos, there's a 99% chance you're probably not going to be able to make 1 full Super Awakening coin every time you beat it. Well, what's the point? I know technically you can do it daily, which I guess increases the chance of you getting materials for it, but still, it's not. I don't think it's really worth it. If you increase the amount, so it is significant. Yes, I know that most people who can beat Chaos are whales, but still, you've now made another way to get SA coins for future updates like True Awakening 2, which, it will be coming eventually. Maybe even this JP anniversary we could see it. We never know. Next one is... Oh no, next one is Demon King. So Demon King, of course, with basically everyone wanting to True Awaken characters, and even just generally it's quite hard to True Awaken characters. Sometimes, especially if you cannot do hell and you're forced to do extreme. I said Demon King reset changed from weekly to every other day to increase the rate in which players can obtain True Awakening. Solely because, let's just say if someone cannot beat hell, because let's say their box isn't good enough, playing extreme to try and get it. Wait, can we see the box? Here it is. This is what you're guaranteed on extreme. 8 of these. And bear in mind, you only get... I think you get 2 from these, because Memory Crystal 1, and you get 2. So it's pretty mediocre. Or at least you get demon mats. I'm not sure if you get demon mats from this, but it's really mid compared to this one, where not only do you get 17, but you get a lot more. So it's sort of like just make it so we can do it more often. You don't have to nerf it, you don't have to change anything about it, just make it so we can do it more often so players can obtain more of these crystals. Because some people, for example, with this new collab coming up, they changed all of their, let's just say, fairy and giant race crystals into unknown, because they assumed, why would the mob make a non-unknown collaboration character when the race isn't human? And of course, now they have. We'll get into that as well later on as well. Okay, next is Deer Floor 4, just some quite simple changes. Phase 2 to have the grey effect removed and replaced with red, or just fully removed in general, because that can completely ruin your run, because it will just target whoever you got Red Tamil on, and there's a chance that no matter how good your team is, if it does a certain set of skills, you lose. That's just how that works. And I said Phase 4 to have a complete overhaul. Find a way to sort of praise the player or buff the player when they do the colour wheel. I know technically it gets corrosion and it loses an immortality stack, but that's the gimmick, right? Praise the player by giving it a shield or something. Give the player a shield. Because on the gimmick for the counter it says, oh, the counter misses if it hits a shield. So you want me to use a shield character. Bear in mind you can use Ragnarok characters, and there's not a single Ragnarok character in the game that has a shield. Any shield, in fact. Unless, of course, in the future they're going to make like a red character or a blue character that can provide a shield that is better than either Thor or Freya. Probably better than Freya if I had to guess. But it is possible. But will they really do it? I don't think so, honestly. Next one is PvP. Pretty simple. Add a new rank in Ungeared. PvP to encourage players to push. Just make Challenger. Make like Challenger 5, Challenger 4, 3, 2, 1. Just sort of get people to push even higher. Yes, you'll have to up the amount of diamonds people can get a week, but bear in mind how dupe heavy a lot of these characters have been recently. I don't think it's really an issue. And also get people to push further, and will give people who maybe don't really push something to push for and to play for. Some people just do their one game a day, think, I don't care, I'll just stay in Champ 5. But when there's let's just say a step above that, which is Challenger, people are going to be more willing to push to Challenger to get those additional rewards. Even if it's an extra 10 or 15 diamonds, which is technically it's a large amount in the scheme of things. It's another half a multi, but people will still grind for it, and it is still something that I think is quite worth it. Brawl rewards and cost revamp, so the rewards just completely change them, and the cost of those rewards revamp them, just make them more useful. Technically, yes, I can get an SSR ticket in it. It's not really that big. I think you can get an SSR ticket, I don't really know, to be honest. I get 2,000 points a day. I feel like they should also change the amount of points you get a day as well to make it so you can get the final rewards quicker, and it would sort of encourage more people then to play the game mode. Because the rewards you get at the moment are not only they're not just generally not very good, but the amount of time it takes to get the diamonds, even for someone who's like, I'm sub 1,000, right, on the leaderboards globally, and it still takes me 21 days to get a total of 15 diamonds. I think you get 3, a 7 and a 5, so 15 diamonds, which I guess technically it's an extra 15 diamonds a month and it's still quite good. But I feel like if, let's just say you could, for example, someone in my shoes, someone who's in, the sub 1,000 could get it every 2 weeks, it would make a lot more impact, and I think players would be a lot more willing to push in Brawl and to make Brawl more appealing to just the general player base, because it isn't. Like, most people just don't care about their rank and don't even go to the Brawl shop. Another one, training dungeon, which is basically just training grow. Reset from weekly to every other day to increase the rate in which players can obtain engraved gear. It's just to make it easy for players to get more engraved gear. That's it. Because some characters you have to have many sets for, or there's so many characters, I should say, a new player starts now. They've got to make engraved sets for tons of different characters for tons of different content. Because not only you can have to have like PvE specialist characters, so LR Liz, both the Mageldas, Jormungand, Red and Green, Blue Valenti, Red Toner. You've then also got other characters like Danafor Liz, who you may want engraved gear for once again Belmoth, or wherever you want to do, or even just PvP meta characters. You don't have to engrave their gear realistically if you want to attempt the highest level of content. Of course, you don't really need to for demons, unless of course you're doing the Endurer one, or I guess OG Demon. But I don't really engrave my gear, but once again, my books, CC and Constellation do heavily help me there. And the final one, Reverse stage, which is the most unloved game mode, either to be removed or to have regular updates. And I put in brackets catastrophe. You've added a Ragnarok stage, you might as well add a catastrophe stage. If you're not going to do that, there's no point having the game mode. It's not been updated in years. Yes, technically it does give a lot of diamonds. You give people a month's notice, say, yep, we're going to get rid of it in a month. People will do all the ones they can do. They can't do them. It's unfortunate. Just get rid of the mode. It's not worth it. It's just a waste. It just sits there when it can quite easily be replaced from with a game mode that could benefit every player. And we'll go into game modes. I have one game mode that I sort of come up with, which we'll get into at the end of the video. And that is for game modes at the moment. Now on to heroes. And yeah. Cool, now on to heroes. So the first one, once again, I said we'll talk about True Awakening again. Here it is. So True Awakening costs to be changed depending on the base rarity of the character. So UR costing 3 True Awakening coins, SSR costing 2 True Awakening coins, SR costing 1 True Awakening coin, and Rare costing 6 Super Awakening coins. Just to sort of make it so it sort of does scale with the rarity of the character, and to make it so you are more likely to True Awaken rare characters as well, just to sort of get the most out of it. Yes, I know it gives a lot of GP points, gives you 10 GP points, but once again, 36 Super Awakening coins to True Awaken a rare character is not really worth it, especially when you may use that rare character. For example, if it's Twigo, yeah, he's got more use. But I can't really think of any other argument to use any other rare character other than Twigo. Unless you guys can, I can't. Let's actually go to heroes, so it actually makes more sense. So, the ability to upgrade multiple cosmetics at once, so these characters whose cosmetics I don't probably have leveled. Elaine. So the ability to actually click a button here and then click the outfits I want to level up, it will say, okay, this will cost you X amount of the upgrade material and X amount of gold. Would you like to do it? Yes, and upgrade all of them at once. Because when you, let's just say, I guess it's more of like whale problems, but like when you buy a bunch of outfits for, let's say, the new festival, and you have to individually upgrade them, it doesn't take too long, but it would be quite nice as a quality of life boost just to sort of make so I can upgrade all of them at once, instead of having to individually upgrade all of them. Especially when you've got, let's just say, they drop with 5 outfits, 5 weapons, 5 headgears day 1. That's 15 things you have to upgrade, and it can sometimes take just a little while. It's just quality of life stuff, really. Another one, the ability to engrave multiple pieces of gear on one character at once. So, I don't think that she has any actual half-decent gear. Let's say I wanted to engrave this rare gear on her, there'd be like, I could select a piece of gear and select engrave, and then it would allow me to click on other pieces of gear that I also wanted to engrave on said character, and then I could then click engrave in once. It would say, okay, this is what it's going to cost you, these are the engraving stones, this is the awakening stones, this is the gold, are you okay with engraving this on this character, Elaine, right? And you click yes, it will engrave all of them at once, so you don't have to once again do the entire individual thing of going engrave, yes, engrave, yes, because it can just get a little bit boring. Once again, quality of life boost, nothing too insane. Another one that I think I've spoken about quite a bit, I think a lot of people have, and that's affection. So update affection to meet the max amount of obtainable hearts. So you can get 2 hearts per character. You get 1 heart for obtaining the character, you get another heart for maxing out their affinity. And I just feel like, once again, it is maxed at 250, and they've not updated it. Just update it. There's nothing bad about updating it. Yes, it will give players more diamonds, but it also gives something for players to grind. If you didn't want to add this thing in the first place, why'd you add it? If you don't want people to get these diamonds, why'd you add it in the first place? But once again, it sort of entices players to use different characters when farming gold or when farming stuff. Like, yes, it may take longer, but players will probably want to passively farm diamonds because I think there's about over 300 diamonds you can get from, let's just say, 0 to 250 hearts. That's 300 diamonds. That's a third of a rotation of a festival and half a rotation of a collaboration, which is insane. Yes, the grind is very long. Once again, as the grind is really long, it's not too bad. People, let's just say whales who've maybe been grinding out affection since day 1 and still do it to this day, yes, they'll be able to obtain a ton of diamonds day 1, but they've already done the grind. So players like myself who've just sort of used the most optimal team to be able to complete the content now, instead of farming for affection, I'm not going to benefit as much as for someone who has continued to grind it. And I feel like they should add the additional hearts, and I'll keep updating it to match the amount of obtainable hearts in the game. Even if that does include the top 100 characters, it doesn't matter. The people who got top 100 characters can get an additional extra few diamonds every now and again. I don't see a problem with it. And it would just, get more people to use more characters. Like, no one's realistically going to use Fraudrin or Matrona or Droll or even Zaratros, Denzel. Look at all these characters I've got basically no affinity for. Affection for. That's because I've no use. Why would I use them if I got no use for them? So adding a use for them, which would just be, I know, solely just affection, which isn't much, but it's still a use for the characters, and it's still quite good. It'll give players more diamonds, give something to grind. It's not too bad. And my final one, once again, it is down to cosmetics again. Let's just find Beatrice. So changing the cost of upgrading SSR to UR, so let me just go down a stage. So it's 60 from SSR to UR. I would say lower that to 30, so it is 30-30. So it's not as expensive, especially when they're adding like a collaboration. Let's just say each one has like 4 outfits for 4 each, so it's 12. You get like 2 SSR ones each, so it's a lot of materials. It's a lot. Like, I had 800 before. I think I had 800 to 900 of each before the collab. I'm now at probably about 200 to 400 of each now, and I still haven't leveled up all the cosmetics yet. That's what I mean. Really expensive, and I wouldn't mind if the cosmetic upgrade stuff was really easy to obtain, but it's not. It's not super easy to obtain. If it was really easy to obtain, I'd have no problem with it, but it isn't. So just lower it a little bit, so it sort of isn't as... Technically, yeah, it's still quite expensive, but it's not as expensive as what it was, because it is absurdly expensive to get something from SSR to max UR. 90, which is a lot. It's nearly, let's just say, an old stack of an item, which is 99. And now we're going to go on to banners next. Here we are now on to some people's most favourite banner in the world, the definitely not rigged Eminence and Shadow collaboration banner, where the characters are extremely heavily dupe heavy, and they don't have a very good rate up. In my opinion, they should have all been 0.5, but once again, it just is what it is. So, the first thing this thing I've been speaking of for a while was update the pity on banners. Not the end amount, so once again, 600 for collaboration characters, completely fine, and 900 for festivals, completely fine. My thought was more or less you add stuff along the way on this bar, because this bar has not been updated since the introduction of pity. So, you know, maybe add a box halfway through, which enables you to pick a character on the banner, or it doesn't have to be character on the banner, just pick a character. That can be from a selection, for example, on the recent Hell banner. If you did a second rotation, you could pick Sab or Thor. I think it was Sab or Thor. You could pick a UR character from it, a UR-based festival from it, if you did a second rotation, which is insane, by the way. But I'm not saying at 300, you know, put Thor in there, put like Demon King Melee Liz. I'm just saying put like Green Sigurd, Red Chandler, Boldir, characters that I'm not gonna say are rare because they're not really, but just characters that some people may not have, or just characters that are very out of the ordinary, not like Nanashi or Blue Slater or Green Glocks, you know, characters that we've seen in recent banners for some reason. Like, you'd think power creep would mean that the characters on the banner would get better, but it seems like they just de-evolved. Like, we used to get like, oh cool, we've got like you know, this banner has like Green Camilla, and it's a collaboration character banner, so it's pretty good. It's got Green Sigurd, it's got Nauseans, you know, all these characters that can be good. And then all of a sudden, oh, in the most like, I think in the past like 2-3 months, oh, we've got Blue Slater, Green Glocks, Blue OG King. Like, wow, I'm really hyped to pull 30 different copies of the most dead characters ever. The best characters you can pull are Roxy, Tyr, and this Matrona. And I guess this Elaine as well, if you really want to run a fairy team with the new collaboration characters. She's free. We've been giving her free many times, and I'm pretty sure new players can get her for free still. Nanashi's Nanashi. He's pretty common to find on banners. Glocks is on the SSR tickets. So I just think it's kind of stupid that the banner was so mediocre. Like, realistically, unless Tristan gets a relic, no one's using Tristan, even if he's 6'6". Roxy, she has a use, it's not too bad. She uses a link. Tyr, once again, you can use him as a link. Green Matrona is not too bad. I don't have the scenario, but my guess is she's probably not the worst. But it's just like Jelly King, you're not really going to be using Jelly King unless it's Chaos Mode. This Elaine, why does she exist? She's useless. Glocks has an LR, which I guess is half decent based on the SSR ticket, so value immediately drops. Yeah, and once again, if they are going to add this, let's just say they add it to big banners. So they do JP Anniversary, Global Anniversary, the 0.5 anniversaries, and then New Year, right? All the big festivals. You put a random SSR at 150, like you always do. You put a box. You do another random SSR at 300. You do like a a box which you can pick a character at 450. At 600 you have another SSR random. At 750 you have another pickable character that you would like, and then once again at 900 you have to pick your character. Just to sort of make these banners more enticing for players. Even if someone does a full rotation, right, and they think, oh, but at 450 I can pick Green Camilla, but at 450 on the first rotation I pick Green Sigurd. Now I sort of want to go the rest to 450 again and get a Green Camilla. You're enticing people to summon more, which is really what you want to do, because they're more likely going to spend. They run out of diamonds. Oh, but this new character's broken. Okay, maybe I'll spend a little bit. Isn't that what you really want to do, instead of just basically making the banners feel like a scam at 300, 600? Well, not 900, because 900 is just the character you want. So it just needs general improvements. Once again, I also put underneath, this could be added to big banners, which is just basically festivals and collabs. More ways to obtain older seasonal characters that don't regularly appear on banners or never really appear on regular banners. So let me just go back to my heroes so I can show off what I mean by just unloved seasonal characters. This Valenti, completely useless, no use at all anywhere. Why is she even in the game at this point? He's been given for free a million times. This Liz, I do have a 2/6, but like just characters like that are really not really used anywhere. Like not meta. They realistically they're never going to get an LR. Just to make them more obtainable to the average player. And the way to do that was, this is what I said, is you make a weekly seasonal SSR ticket where people can just randomly get a seasonal character. Of course, it doesn't have to be like, oh, you can get like Nulzians, because Nulzians is a seasonal character, everyone. Because not recently, but more recently, in the more recent years, they've decided to call every character a seasonal character, just so then people don't ask when they're going on the SSR tickets. Which also, they need to really improve the SSR tickets. Not been updated. You might as well just, in my opinion, get rid of the SSR ticket banner and split it between the Sins of the Four Knights story. So you put Sins of Four Knights, you then have seasonals, and then you'll then have like Ragnarok and Catastrophe as one as well. Because then what that then does is it sort of makes it feel like there's more to it. You can obtain more characters in more different ways. Because the SSR ticket banner is mid. Let's be real. Like, even for new players, the best characters you're going to get are the characters. That's really loud. The best characters you're going to get. Well, there's only a SSR ticket. There it is. The best characters you're going to get are the characters that have LR forms. Is Blue King even on here? Scrolling through trying to find. Look, Escanor and Galland, they're both mid LRs, but they're still decent. Glock's decent LR, there you go. Scrolling down for any good characters. The Tomiels and the Sariels always got good links. Green Arthur's decent. Like, these two are decent. Once again, Sariels and Tomiels are always good. Cusac's half decent. And I guess these two are decent, but that's it. That's all you've got. And bear in mind the chance of you getting them is 1.4%, the one you want. Realistically, you're not going to get them. So why don't you just split them out into seasonals and, the Sins stories and that kind of stuff, just so people can obtain more of these characters. Like, yes, they're completely useless, but that's 30 GP points. And if you're never going to bring them out or back in banners again, what's the point? You might as well just put them in more places to obtain. Yep, and then my final one, which has something to do with this collaboration. Oh, can she please be quiet? Thank you. Is make sure that collaboration banner rates match the impactfulness of dupes needed for characters' passives. So, once again, this collab, there are 3 collaboration characters. I'm going to keep complaining about this until eventually, or maybe they might not even fix it, but until maybe they fix it. There are 3 collaboration characters. And amongst those 3 collaboration characters, there are 5 parts of their passives that are impacted by ult level. 2 of those characters have 2. So Alpha, the critical defense and the damage cap is impacted by her ult level. With Sid, the amount of HP, or Shadow, the amount of HP he gains from his buff, as well as the damage he does depending on his max HP, is also based on his ult level. And then Beta is basically the higher levels you have, the more attack related stats you get per buff, which is not as impactful as the first 2. The damage cap goes from 50% from 40%, that is at 2.6, and of course you've got then the critical defense increase, which scales of course with almost 40, 40, 50, 50, 60, and then 70. Shadow, it's like, I don't actually know what Shadow's ones are, but all I know is that it is his HP that he gets from the buff, as well as the damage he does depending on his max HP from the buff, which I think should have done better rates. And if your whole excuse is the reason these characters are not good is because they're not LR, for example, like LR Millum, who's extremely powerful even still to this day, then what's the point of releasing collaboration characters at all if they're not going to be able to compete with just the general character player base that is currently meta? Like, what's the point of these collaborations even being a thing if they can't compete because they're not LRs? They can't compete with LR Merlin, they can't compete with LR Millum. Hell's there just to make the team even worse, and you've got LR Rimuru. So if all these teams are all LR, what's the point of them making collaboration characters that cannot either compete with them solely because they're SSR and you don't want to make them, LR level broken? Why? What's the point? What's the point of releasing these characters then? Unless you've got stuff in mind for future, which they could have. But the only good thing about, once again, them adding fairies is that we're going to have a more diverse pool of collaboration characters, which once again could quite heavily impact the meta, and that's also quite a good change. It's quite healthy to have quite a rounded meta. And that is it for banners. Next thing we got is the final thing, which is just new content ideas. Here we are again on the final part, which is new content ideas. So, with the removal of Tower of Trials, I was thinking, maybe they could add it again. But there's a better way to do it. Sort of the way how Idol has done it. 70th Idol. 70th Idol has quite a good few game modes I think Grand Cross could sort of just steal and bring into Grand Cross. I think would actually perform quite well, whether that comes to character boosting characters' CC with new ways to boost their CC and character progression, or just general new content. So the one I decided to go for was a Tower of Trials that is locked by race. Each race will have its own tower. This tower will have no gimmicks at all. So it won't be like the original Tower of Trials where it was just all gimmicks. No gimmicks. It will be purely based on just your stats, your skill, and will scale so that new players can progress it. For example, floor 1's CC would be 15k, floor 2 20k, etc. This will give players nothing to work towards, and will give a fair amount of rewards to help players build up their accounts. Floors would be added, let's say, every other month, so that it doesn't get forgotten and left to die, a little bit like Reverse Stage has sort of just been left to die, which is quite sad, but yeah. And another one I thought was character crystals. Every character starts at a level 1 crystal. It's not based on alt level or anything, and can be upgraded through either gold or defeating a stage solo with that character. So it'll be like, this has a recommended CC, or stage 1 has a recommended CC of 10k. You try on with your 77k UR Escanor. You beat it, then you get the reward, which would be a form of stat boost. The crystals would only boost basic stats in the percent, so it wouldn't just give you like 4,000 attack or 4,000 defense or 4,000 HP. It'd be like 1% attack, 2% attack, 3% attack, so on and so forth. The effect will impact the character's combat class on the hero screen. So the hero screen is, we go here, Escanor. Once again, the one I used for an example, it would boost the CC here. The crystal would be next to the ultimate level here and would boost the character's CC. Max level would be 30 on release, increasing each basic stat by 10%. So it'd be, let's say, 10 levels. One would be, let's say, you can even split into 3 different sections. So you could have a section for HP, a section for defense, and a section for attack. And you could do each level on there, or it could be just one set of 30 levels. Each one, let's say, one, so it does it in a row. So it'd be attack, defense, HP, so on and so forth. And then, once again, with this, they then have the ability to add more levels in the future to be able to boost CC in some way or another. That's it for this video. Honestly, I've just been trying to go over things to improve the game from my point of view as a content creator, someone who's been playing the game for 5 years. There are problems. I do think stuff needs to be adjusted, and I feel like they need, well, it's not a need, but it would be quite nice for them to adjust a lot of these things or make improvements, or instead of, trying to make new content, refurbish old content. Give it a new fresh coat of paint, add Tower of Trials back, once again add different races to it, give decent rewards, Super Awakening, Diamonds, so on and so forth, but make it so that new players are able to beat the content. Because that is a big problem. Escanor needs to, I'm going to switch, because Escanor is being irritating. I'm not going to switch for anyone. But yeah, it's just, the problem is that a lot of every piece of new content that has been added, let's just say in the past year, has been focused towards not the new players, but to the long-time players like myself, and maybe the players towards the mid to late game, basically. End game players and mid to late game players. Not towards the new player. And I feel like that is quite a hurdle, is that when a lot of the new content is locked behind, years of account progression and exclusive characters like collaboration characters or characters with festivals I don't really come back to often, it's quite off-putting for players, and some players just quit because they can't get to sort of levels, or they struggle to level up their characters because SA coins early on and even SSR pennants early on are really hard to obtain. Yes, technically you got events, right? But if we go to the shadow boss, I'm not sure if I can even attempt it because I've done my 5 for today. Can I click on it? No, I can't. Can I even check a CC? Can I check the CC? 100k. And that's just for normal. If let's say a new player really started playing this game, they really like this collab, I know that hitting 100k is not as hard as what it used to be, but still you've then got to beat the boss. Yes, technically this boss maybe doesn't have as much gimmicks or whatever, it's only got 200,000 health, but still quite a jump from what it used to be back in the day where it was like 80k or even 60k for event bosses. I remember that. Of course, this is before like True Awakening, relics, relic upgrades, so on and so forth. But I feel like as a community, we should come up with a list of things that we would like either refurbishes for, so like refurbish or overhauls, or just general improvement, and just Netmarble to be like, yep, no, and make compromises with us with stuff that can, or they would not mind improving or adding to the game, so that us, like, I don't know, we can benefit from something quite nice that we've sort of put towards the game. I don't really know, I'm just yapping here at this point. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts on what I've said. Maybe you got any more as well. And make sure to spread this video around, of course, if you want, I guess, to make more awareness to it. I know Netmarble's never going to see this, but it is what it is. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.